Hello, Kasey from Hello Cloud Sets. In this session, I'll walk you through HCC GCP Lab 1042. Degree of difficulty is 65. The topic is Google Cloud Compute Engine. An objective is deploy multiple Linux instances at once using instance group. So we're going to look at the instance group, how it works, what's the purpose of it, how to use it to deploy more than one instance at the same time. Right? So if you have to deploy, say, 10 similar instances, same type of machine, similar memories, configuration, similar disk setup, then you can use instance group to launch all of those at once. So let's look at that. This is my general approach for this in other labs. So make sure that you go through it here or in any other lab. If you have gone through this, reading this before, then that's fine. Essentially what I'm saying is how to consume this lab, go through first time, just watch the video, second time follow along, and third time do it on your own. So let's look at high-level steps for this particular lab, what we are going to do here. So let's analyze that. We'll go to the console, Gcp Console first, and then we'll create a template. The first step is to create a template. And why do we create a template? Because we can define what's the machine type, the disk configuration, any metadata we want to set up, any characteristics of this machine, these VMs, the virtual machines that we are going to deploy. We can bake those into the instance template. That's what we're doing. So we will define that, and then we will use that template to create an instance group out of it. So once we define the template, then we will go create the template, keep everything to the default. Next, click the instance group, right? So we will create an instance group and select the template that we just defined, right? So this is the template configuration we just defined, and then we're going to use that in the instance group, and we'll say, okay, we want to launch, say, 3 instances of this type of the template that we decided, that we defined, and then it's gonna launch 3 instances, and we'll just SSH and then ping the internet DNS server for the GCP, and we'll end the lab. So really straightforward. Once again, 3 similar servers use cases. Maybe you're launching an application, you have 3 or 300 servers of the same type. You want to launch it at once, create one template with your custom image, everything baked in, and then use instance group, point to that template, and then say you need 3 or 3,000, right? 1. Or you can even deploy 1, I think, with the instance group, but it doesn't make sense. You can use deploy 2 or any number of 3,000 is just a number. There is no higher limit. Of course, you are bound by the quota for the Compute Engine API usage, and that also can be upgraded by talking to the GCP support team. So that's the gist of it, this lab. Let's try that. Let's go to the console, and then we attempt it. So I'm here at the blank page. I'm going to go to the GCP console, which is console.cloud.google.com. It's going to drop me to my project. And then first step, I'm going to go back and forth so you can follow it along as well. You'll have access to this document. So you create instance template first, and we'll give it a name, and then we are going to keep everything default or modify the parameters. This is up to you. I'm going to modify maybe a couple of parameters and leave everything else to the default. Compute engine, we go there, and then we can go to the instance template. So let's look at the instance template. I have one, but we're going to create a new one. So let's call it instance template 1, or you can say inst temp 02, for example, and I'm going to customize it a little bit. So let me customize this so it's slightly different. I'm going to do maybe 2 vCPU instead of 7.5 default gig. I'll go to 8 gig of memory, and then CPU platform automatic, no GPU. Now, when you do this lab, make sure to do it with the default configuration. Just use F1 micro because otherwise you will be paying for it. So I'm just showing you that you can do anything in the template, but you don't have to make these changes. If you do, just quickly delete those. You will be charged for 1 minute if you let it. The first minute is mandatory, and then it's on a per second basis. If you got the free tier access, which I have shown in my lab, then you would have $300, and it should be well within that. And many labs, in fact, you can do all the labs $5 5 times that I have and still not be able to consume $300 as far as you delete all the resources per my instructions. So we will leave everything else. We can leave it default. Let's say we allow HTTP but not HTTPS in this case. And again, you can go in and define description for this, add label, automation. You can do a startup script if these are web servers, and you can deploy the web servers in the startup script. I have a lab for that. It's a separate lab on how to use the template, as well as separate lab on how to use startup script. So each one of them is covered in different lab. Objective of this lab is to use the template and deploy as a group. So we'll not modify template a lot. Just say create this template, and we have the template. Once we have the template, you see this on the right side. I'm going to use my drawing pen here. So on the right hand side, you will see this. It's an info panel. So when you see that and you don't have enough space to move around, click on that. It's a toggle switch, so it will remove it. Just make sure to do that if you are hurting for or you need more space to work with. So I'm going to do that, and there you have it. So here you can then say create an instance group. So here, this is web server. The one we just created is instance template. This one, either you can go in and create a group from it, create an instance group here on the top. Okay, and I'm going to use my pen. So you can create an instance group by clicking here, or you can come out and use this one right here as well. Use this to drop down there. Let me show you. Right here, and say create an instance group, and it's going to go to the instance group. So let's look at our instructions here. So we are there. We are next click on the instance group and give it a name, right? So we will be launching. You could do it either way. So the instruction says you create an instance group and select a template. I started from the template. Let's try based on my instructions. So we will go to instance group, for example. So create an instance group. So let's call this INSD GRP02, for example. And then we can select the template we created, instant template 02, right? So you could do either way. You can start from the template and create a group, or start from the group and use the template that you created. Now you see that you have a chance to modify some of these parameters, so you can do that as well. Let's go back here. What we're doing. So we will do this. Select a single zone managed instance group. Select the template that you created. We just did. Set auto scaling to off, because I have a separate lab on auto scaling. So I'm going to turn that off, which is right here. Auto scaling to off. Let's do that. So we won't be auto scaling. A number of instances we want to launch are, say, 3. Auto healing. What is auto healing? Auto healing is VM in the group are recreated as needed. You can use the health check to recreate a VM if the health check finds a VM unresponsive. So it heals it automatically. So we're going to do 3 instances. Let's go back here. That's what instruction says. Yep. And then the rest to default, and we can create. So auto healing is, once again, if you configure the health check and it does not pass, it's going to recreate another VM to replace that, so to speak, unhealthy virtual machine. So we're going to create it right here with that. And instance group is created, and it should start launching 3 instances because it's a managed group, and it's going to launch instances in that zone. So let's keep an eye here on instances. There you go. 3 instances starting up. Instance group P02. So it gives that name some random characters to make the virtual machine or instance name unique within your project, but they all start with the group instance group name hyphen and then 4 random characters. So once they are up, we should be able to SSH. It looks like one of them is already up, so we can just click on SSH to get to that instance. As other instances come up, I will click SSH, and then our exercise. Let's go back. We're just going to test it by pinging Google's famous DNS server 8.8.8.8. It's going to take a little bit of time every time you click on SSH on the console, because it's exchanging SSH keys at this point. And that can be shortened if you have SSH keys locally on your Mac or Windows or Linux machine that you're accessing. You can directly SSH by storing your key and authenticating that. First time it may take the same time, but subsequently it's going to be really quick. But here, every time you click through the web interface, it's going to take a little bit of time. So we got that. Other VMs should be up. Let's refresh. They're all up, and then SSH to the other one, and SSH to the third one. And we should be able to get in. I'm going to press, I'm on a Mac, so I'll press Command tilde to switch among those windows for the browser, which I'm using Chrome here. So you will see, there we are. Let's ping from the second machine rather, 8888. And we should be good there. And then another VM here. And we should be good there as well. So what did we do here? Let's go back, recap. Very straightforward, really. Instance template, we created a template. We could have created group from here, but in this case, we created instance group and then used the template. One and the same thing. And in the template, what did we say? We said we will make it an auto configure template. And then, managed group template rather. That means it's going to be auto-managed for us. It's going to auto-heal as well. And then we maxed it up to, or we set it up to 3 instances. We cannot say we maxed because we did not go for auto-scaling. We turned off the auto-scaling. In the auto-scaling lab, you will see that we will turn it on, and you can say minimum and maximum. And based on the parameter you're tracking, such as CPU utilization, for example, you can then launch more instances to make sure that your SLAs are met. Other options are available here as well. Features, capabilities up here. So you see on the top you have rolling update. You can do rolling update of the entire instance group. So if you have 3 or 3,000, you can say update them with a rolling schedule. So all your servers don't go down at the same time. You can roll the updates, changes to your operating system, changes to the patches, new agent that you might be rolling out. A lot of flexibility there. Rolling restart replace is also an option, and you can just delete a group. So details here. So I'll go through that real quick. It should be the same as what we configured to begin with. So let's take a quick look. What is the detail about this? And there you have it. Auto scaling we turned off, and number of instances we set to be 3. I could have put in more information such as metadata, label, startup script. All that would have shown up here, and all of those would be part of these members as well. So here you see instance group members, and once you click on it, it should take you to VM instances page. See, it switched up here on the left. So went from instance group. If I go back here, you will see back to instance group, and then you click on a member, it goes to the VM instance. It is a VM instance at the end of the day. Click on VM instances and you will see those. I have other instances as well, which let me just delete it. So it's out of the way here. Instance -1, I'll just stop it, or I could have just deleted it. And then this one, I just keep it as SRE100. It's stopped right now, so I'm not being charged for it. But once again, this is the whole point of an instance group. You can launch multiple instances at the same time. So that should really do it in this exercise. Let's go back and make sure that we have captured it. Obviously, last thing, we need to delete the resources. So I will do that. Just select this 3 instances. Since it is managed group, even if you delete, it's going to come back. So you have to delete instance group itself. So we can try that. So let me just delete one of them, and you will see that it should come back because the instance group is configured here to have 3 instances. So it's going to check once periodically, and it's going to see that once this instance is unavailable, that it is not satisfying the requirements of the administrator who decided to launch 3 instances as a part of this group, and only 2 instances are running. So that's how it's going to work. But to clean up, you will have to go here and delete this instance group itself. So right now it's a bit busy, but you can still go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to do that. So you should do that as well. Once again, use just F1 micro for all your labs. I use a little bit higher because F1 micro has 0.2 CPU, so the lab would take a little longer for me to do that. So I do use higher CPU for my lab, but I clean up the resources so don't get unnecessary bill that I'm not expecting. So that should do it for this lab. Let's see some other. I'll add some of the screenshot certification exam relevance. This is an important topic, especially coupled with auto scaling, which is another lab, 1044, I believe. So check out that lab as well, how auto scaling works, and I walk you through that. That's more important from exam point of view, but this is also a stepping stone to get there and understand it really better. Any question, any help you need, just make sure to follow this document. You can drop an email or go through the communication channels document, and there are a bunch of other links available to you that you can use to reach out to me to get some more help from me and fellow learners. Once again, this is 8cc GCP Lab 1042 about instance group. Once again, Kasey Shah from Hello Cloud Certs. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.